Hello, I'm Kim Bourgeois Landry and I'm the Wonky Quilter. Today we're talking about finding secondhand or scrap fabric from your local craft stores and local quilt stores, which is a great place to look for fabric. It really is. I want to start first with secondhand stores, thrift stores. I got this real pretty piece. It's 2 1/4. 2 1/4 yards of fabric. This may not be everybody's taste. Maybe I wouldn't have picked it myself, but I am in a vibration right now of doing earth tones. So I think this is going to come in handy for some trees and plants, and I'm doing a home and hearth quilt right now that has a lot of trees and some greenery in it. And this I paid $2.99 for. $2.99. It's ironed and starched. Smells good, and I got it at a sweet little Catholic, thrift shop in Houma, Louisiana. So lovely. Now, I went to New Orleans for Just Want to Quilt first birthday party. It's the research project that also has a podcast, a daily podcast, or maybe a weekly, but often, with really good industry insiders, famous quilters, and just regular old everyday hobbyists like me, just everyday quilters. And there are some great tips on this podcast. It's really good. While I was in town in New Orleans for snacks and cake, hello cake, and quilting for an afternoon at Tulane University, which that's where the project is out of. Dr. Elizabeth Townsend Gard is the law professor that is in charge of this project that's on copyright, and she's chosen to do it with quilting, because you see all of these blocks? None of these. See, that's a Dresden, so that one surely wouldn't be. But what are designers doing these days when they're designing new quilt blocks? Are people protecting their art and their property? So it's been very interesting, and great quilting tips, really great. While I was in town, someone told me to go by a quilt shop in Old Jefferson. And when I say Old Jefferson, we were in New Orleans, which is Orleans Parish. Right next door is Jefferson Parish. Side note, a parish is the same thing as a county. So I went into Old Jefferson, which is the oldest part of the city, or of the city. And it's got kind of a late 60s, maybe a 70s kind of vibe to it. And there's a cute little quilt shop there called the Quilted Owl. And when I walked in, everything is on sale because they're going out of business, sad to say. So many of our local quilt shops are, people are retiring, or they're just not making it because of the internet. You know how that is. We all know how that is. So I said, do you have a scrap basket? And she said, yes, I do. Fill a bag, $5. So she had these little pint size, about like this. Maybe that's quart size, Ziploc bags. And all I had to do was fill a bag as long as I could zip the Ziploc. It was $5. All of this fabric came out of the scrap bag. All of this. This doesn't look like too much, but I mean, all of this is folded. And of course, this is brand new fabric. No, it's not been in anybody's bin. It's things that have been cut off, things that have been left, but it's good quality quilting fabric. No edges, so I can't tell the design. I can't tell who the designer is, but like this size. Now, this won't work for everybody. If what you're doing is quilting using patterns, you're buying yardage, so these little things won't help you. But if you're a scrappy, wonky girl like I am, that's like a jewel. Hello. Again, with the greens. What's up with that? Look at all of these, and what I did is I just laid them out like this. They were all messy in there, and I laid them out and I just started rolling them and rolling them, shoving them in the bag. My bag was so full. Look at all these. And of course, these were the ones that I chose because I'm working on earthy patterns right now. I'm working on, I don't know, there's something about being grounded that I'm working on, so I'm really following earth tones. However, that being said, like these few little bright colors, they were in there, and she had some other bright pinks and da-da-da, but the vast majority of the fabrics had this kind of vibe to them. And quilt shops, as you well know, if you're a quilter already, quilt shops have personalities just like people do. And every quilt shop has a buyer, and the buyer, although they're buying for their customer base, it's really hard to not fall into the your own track of what you're comfortable with. So really, the buyer is who really sets the tone for what kind of store you're in. The Quilted Owl is more of a traditional store. So it was a very much lots of plaids and stripes, and I mean really more of a traditional vibe. There were lots of colors there that I just really could see somebody quilting something that looked like it was from the Civil War, you know, and it was a very warm and homey, and really I wanted to tuck into a chair and never leave. So I got a great deal, $5. Do you know how much a Wonky Quilter can do with these? That's $5 for all of this really good quality quilting fabric. Awesome. While we were in Old Jefferson, we went to a really large flea market. I wonder if they call it a flea market. Maybe it's called a thrift store. Huge, huge. That was my Julia Roberts kind of thing right there. Huge, huge. Anyway, you never know what you'll find. My girlfriend Carol found a bag full of fabric. I know there was black fabric, there must have been 4 yards of it. There was green fabric, there must have been 3, maybe 4 yards. It was just this thick, and it was all one piece. They were shoved into a bag with some black window shears, you know, drapery shear, black, which, you know, you can't quilt with, but I can see Carol, who is a professional quilter, and we had gone together to the first birthday party for We Just Want to Quilt. I can see her cutting this into strips and sewing on one edge and pulling that thread and making little rosettes and doing something with, you know, an art quilt that she's making. She will find a way to use that black shear in a way that is remarkable. But look what I got. I got a little bag full. Again, it was like a Ziploc bag, and it's all stapled together with this in it. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 fat quarters. These are Waverly fabrics. Carol told me that she believes that Waverly is a brand that you can buy at Walmart. So it's not posh. It's Walmart. It's the fabric that people say are not that, you know, that it's not that good if it comes from one of the big box stores. You know, that might be right. I just don't know because I don't buy yardage. But this was $2.99. Okay, posh people, who's gonna pass this up for $2.99? I mean, hello, look at this. Polka dots. Look at these. Look at that, pretty. Right? They're all, look at this, in Cajun country. A little fleur-de-lis. That's for a pretty little girl, a pretty little tea bébé, little Cajun baby. Little teat feet. Pretty baby. Nice gray stripe. Pretty, pretty. You see this? I'm all over that. I love this print. All color coordinated. So, you know, you never know why these were there. Did somebody just clean out their stack? Did these come directly from the store? Who knows? $2.99. That's a project right there. That's a really nice project. So those are just 3 things that I've gotten. Today, here in Lafayette, Louisiana, I went to Goodwill. Yeah, that's my jam. Okay, I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna tell you, sorry about the chair. These are really good sheets. These come from Target, I believe, and they're called Threshold. They're their expensive brands of sheets. It's a pretty, really neutral print. This is a twin set. They were like starched and creased. I pretty much feel like they hadn't been used yet, but it was okay if they did. I came home and I washed them in hot water a couple of times. I'm now in the process of unhemming it. At this point, I'm going to, I started pulling out stitches. This is gonna take forever. So I believe what I will do is just use my rotary cutter and just cut this edge off. I will see if I can rescue the elastic, but this is taking me entirely too long. Although I'm gonna tell you, I do not mind ripping stitches if I didn't make the stitches. Like I'm ripping stitches out of these sheets and I'm like, tra-la-la-la-la, because I feel like I'm rescuing, you know, I'm coming out with a jewel right here. This is really, really good fabric. Now, I don't know how it'll needle for hand quilting, but maybe I'll use these as a back. Let's see if I can get it to where it shows. Real nice and neutral. Maybe I'll use it as a back for doing some machine quilting, but I'm going to get lots of yardage out of this fabric, and it's really lovely. And I'm going to tell you, if you are on a budget, or even if you're not on a budget, if really you just want to be one of the people who are demanding less product be put out for sale, and reusing things that have been abandoned or neglected, or, you know, for a lot of people, I don't want to say abandoned or neglected, it sounds so bad, but they just didn't need this piece. You know, this quilter, this could go on to somebody else. And you know what? It ended up in a $5 bag, and I am going to treasure this. Treasure this. My stash is all new fabrics. It's all new fabrics. Well, okay, this might not be new, but they're just things that nobody else wanted. And I feel like a real treasure hunter. And I have that gene. I have the treasure hunter gene. And it's being satisfied by doing this kind of fabric buy. So anyway, join me next time when we talk about rotary cutters, because I have to tell you, Kim can't use a rotary cutter. I can't even say it. Kim can't use a rotary cutter very well, you know. And we'll also be talking about seam rippers. So the cutting instruments are where we're going next. But now that I've shown you how I buy my stash, then we'll start talking about how we cut it up, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave comments or questions, or tell me how I could do better at these little videos, and I will see what I can do to make it happen. Okay, see you next time. Hope to hear from you. Bye-bye.